Welcome back to another Mythology Monday with me, your host, Alice. And today we are going to talk about one of my favorite mythology monsters, or like gods and things like that, to talk about, and that is the Furies. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, the Furies are also referred to as the Erinyes, are the three goddesses of revenge. Sometimes it's also said there are more than three of them, but there are three main ones essentially that come up over and over again, and so those are the ones we're going to focus on. Now, they all lived in the underworld, so they lived in Hades' domain in Greek mythology, and they answered to Hades specifically. Their names are Allecto, Megaera, and Tisiphone. And now their physical features vary greatly depending on which versions you read and which stories and which ancient Greek historians and playwrights and that you read. So sometimes they are referred to as being beautiful, and other times they're known as being like ugly old hags. Sometimes they're said to have like snakes in their hair, kind of a la Medusa, whereas other times they have them in place of their hands. They just have snakes instead of hands, which is an interesting thought. And sometimes they have wings, sometimes they don't. And occasionally they're also known to weep blood. So yeah, if you upset them, they cry tears of blood, which I mean would be great for a Halloween costume, but kind of terrifying to run into. Now, their job, as I had said before, they live in the underworld, they work for Hades, and are the goddesses of revenge. So their job is to uphold the primitive ideals of the time of order and justice. So what that means is that they followed the old adage or the old belief of an eye for an eye. And so they were merciless and pitiless and would avenge crimes of murder, of blood guilt within families, and they were especially vicious against those who killed a parent or a close relative. So a child killing a parent was a horrible thing back then, and that's what would get the Furies after you, hands down. And so another version of how they were created claims that they were born from the blood of Erinyes when his son Cronus wounded him, whereas another one says that they were children of night. So again, their origin varies depending on story to story, but the idea of these three vengeful goddesses just delights me to no end. And so because of that, they will feature in The Head, the Heart, and the Air, because I do love the idea of some badass women running around slaughtering people and getting revenge for people who did things that they shouldn't be doing. So the idea of that is a whole lot of fun to me. And yeah, of course I had to include them, especially when there's a lot of symbolism of three in my book, with the head, the heart, the air. There's three main kingdoms. There's all these things that come kind of in threes in my book and that. And so the fact that there are three Furies made them so much fun to me. And so yeah, they will feature in my book. Later on in the series a little bit, they come up more. They're not as important at the beginning, but I love them so much, and I also love the fact that each of them had their own kind of area that was their main thing to avenge. So which one came after you depended which crime you would commit. And so you wanted to make sure that, well, you didn't want to do any of these crimes because they were merciless. There was no bribing them to not come after you, but you really wanted to make sure that if you did something, it was worth it, because if these girls came after you, they were not leaving until they had you, because that's how they rolled. And I do like a vengeful, stubborn woman. But yeah, so if you've read any books or things with the Furies, let me know. Or if you just enjoy a vengeful woman who's out to get revenge, let me know, because I think they're fabulous and I think more people should appreciate them. But I hope you guys have a happy Monday and happy reading.